My name is Boaventura Monjane. I'm from Mozambique and I am based in South Africa in Cape Town. I am a postdoc fellow at the Institute for Poverty and Agrarian Studies at the University of the Western Cape. I'm also an agrarian activist and a journalist. The current manifestation of corporate power in our region and in Mozambique in particular is a continuation of an imperial project that has plundered the region and my country in particular for centuries. The form it's taking today is to influence state policies, government policies, so to facilitate the penetration of capital in the region, making it look legal, making it look proper and fair. But we know and we see that the ways in which corporate power imposes itself, it's at the disadvantage of community, disadvantage of the working people, of workers, of peasants, of women, and of indigenous people, because basically it's about stealing, plundering resources. It's about violating human rights of the poor in order to advance or in order to realize the ultimate objective of corporations, which is capitalist accumulation. So today they influence the states, and you can't really differentiate the narrative from a state official from that of, let's say, a CEO of a transnational corporations. They speak the same language. Why? Because corporate power has managed to sort of induce or influence the narrative to the point that it looks like governments and states are agents of transnational corporations. It's a capitalist imperialist project that is using a neoliberal strategy to continue their objective, which is accumulation of capital and dominate, right, and exercise power. The institutional adjustment that is happening, for instance, in Mozambique, is about reforming the legal framework that still gives an active agency to people and to citizens. I will talk, for instance, about the land policy and the land law in Mozambique, which has been considered progressive because it provides space for the peasantry and rural populations to participate actively in land access management and so on and so forth. So now the state is reforming or is revising that policy with the support, financial support, but also ideological support of USAID and of course corporate power behind it to make it more possible for capital to penetrate without sort of barriers that today you have. Today you have to deal with, community will. You have to consult. They have the power to say no. They want to remove that so that it's possible for extractive capital to penetrate, agrarian capital to penetrate, and so on and so forth. So changing laws, changing policies, transforming or changing the legal framework is now a strategy for corporate power to consolidate itself. One area that I think we should pay a close attention to is around extractivism, particularly now where we see a rush for the so-called transition minerals. My region, Southern Africa, possesses huge reserves of graphite in Mozambique, lithium in Zimbabwe, manganese in South Africa, copper in DRC, cobalt in Zambia. And those minerals are needed for the so-called energy transition in the north, but they sit there in our region. So the question we have to ask ourselves is, whose transition, whose justice those minerals will serve? And we need to be very alert to avoid that corporate power capture those minerals and leave our territories in poverty, as it has happened over the centuries of imperialism and of capitalism in the continent and in the global south in general. So I think social movements, progressive activists and academics must come together and strategize around how to push back against corporate capture of our resources in the name of the so-called just transition. All progressive forces in our societies should come together and build a counterpower. There is a need to build a popular agenda for the development of our countries, which will be pro-poor and people's-led. And this means that although the working people and different sectors of our society are differentiated, this means that they might have different interests. Unity among them is possible to fight a bigger enemy, which is in this case neoliberal policies and corporate power. So understanding their differences is important. It's not a threat for them to unite, it's actually a prerequisite for them to see where they can actually resolve the differences and find points of unity, because it will take a lot of articulation, a lot of alliances to counter the power of corporations and the power of neoliberal anti-poor policies that are growing and are increasingly being imposed in our countries. A progressive rural politics, in my view, basically mean that the peasantry, small-scale farmers, small capitalists, rural capitalists, fisher folks, landless persons, and so on and so forth, should unite and build a collective vision and a popular program to counter the current move, which is corporate impunity, corporate power, and unpopular policies that are being imposed in our countries. There is a need to consolidate or to strengthen alliances locally, regionally, and globally.